Hi, everybody. This is Laurel Sagen with Laurel Houses. And Dot. Dot, why don't you introduce yourself, Dot Boyd, and the name of your company, and then we'll talk about what you do.
Awesome. So, hi everyone. Laurel, thanks for having me on today. I'm Dot Boyd. I'm a home care liaison with Craig Cares here in Sacramento in Home Care Company. And for the past 5 years in the industry, I've been known as the Senior Safety Specialist, helping seniors and families on the aging journey to stay safe and sound at home.
Yeah. And, Dot, one of the reasons why I love working with you is because you do keep people safe and sound at home. I don't need to buy everybody's house. People should stay home when they can, and your companies allow that to happen. So how do we keep our loved ones when they get older and not getting around and not as safe as they used to, safe and sound at home?
It can be challenging depending on what's going on with their home in terms of is it 2-story or 1-story? Can we make some modifications to it to keep it safer? That's just one aspect of the environment. A lot of it has to do with is your mom or dad or loved one open to the idea of taking the resources and tools that are out there for seniors and using them and being proactive. That's a big piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Right?
There's the physical safety, right? There's the physical space, right?
Yeah.
There's also the equipment that you need, right?
Yes.
So, walkers, handrails, other safety items, right?
Right.
And then there's the what do you call it? The daily activities of living thing?
Yes. Right. Right.
Can they dress themselves? Can they feed themselves? All these issues, right?
Yeah, right. And for some people, they're very physically capable and they're cognitive. They're good. They're good upstairs and downstairs. You could say, kind of in a simple way, but basically, everything's working well. But in the safety end of things, one fall can change it all. I mean, I give seminars all the time about fall prevention awareness, and that no matter how healthy you are, once we hit age 65 and older, the numbers are not pretty. I mean, every year, 1 in 4 Americans will fall, and 80% of the time it's at home.
Right. And so we got fall prevention that we need to assess, right?
Right.
I had a friend who was 68 years old, and she had a stroke while she was in bed, and she couldn't even get out of bed for like over 24 hours before anybody could get to her. And so now she's back through rehab, and we're looking at how to have her be safe at home.
Right.
A lot of people face this. There's falls, there's strokes,
Yes.
all kinds of issues, right? Another friend of mine passed away because she got a urinary tract infection.
Yeah.
And went crazy, and nobody knew what was wrong or could do anything.
Yeah. Urinary tract infections, UTIs, are really common in older folks, especially women. And delirium can set in, dehydration can set in. And if you're lucky enough to get to the doctor or the hospital, they often think it's dementia. So it's not. It's a UTI. I used to go through that with my mom. So are you there, Laurel? I can't see you anymore. Are you there, Laurel? I don't see you, Laurel. Did we lose each other?
Looks like we lost Laurel for a second, but I will go ahead and add her back onto the stream. Sometimes we have some difficulties, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and add her back right now.
Okay, thank you. That's just real life.
Real life. That wasn't even the technology. That was a cognitive problem with the operator.
Oopsie, it happened.
Laurel pushed the wrong button. Sorry, guys.
It's been known to happen by all of us.
Okay.
Well, and we were talking about how someone getting help, right? You've got to get help in that golden hour. And so when people have an emergency, a medical emergency, a fall, or something where they're alone and they can't call anyone for help, the average length of time they lay on the floor, in the garage, backyard, side of the yard, it's almost 18 hours. So that's,
wow.
yeah, it's horrific. And I have clients where it was 3 days, like you said, after a stroke. And if you're healthy and younger, people think, well, she didn't call me back. It's no big deal. But that's what happens is you can't get to a phone, and that's a problem. And that's why a personal emergency alert is so critical, because if you're wearing a button, right? Like, how do I keep my mom safe at home after a fall? Well, if mom has on a personal emergency alert, right, then she can push a button and get help right away. And family is notified. And if she needs to go to the hospital, she'll be transported to the hospital, and first responders will know who she is, where she is, and what her needs are.
And the great thing is, it's not that button that people used to, the fall, I can't get up, lady, push that button. It looks like an Apple Watch.
It does. It really does. And I'll just show you what we have at Electronic Caregiver. But they don't look like your typical medical alerts. They are nice looking wearables, and there's a portable device with built-in GPS that goes right with it. I don't know if you can see that. There's a lot of glare on my screen today, but that's a big thing. But there's pushback on a lot of the resources. That's why all of us in the industry are so passionate about sharing what's available, because people might have an old notion of what's available.
Now, how do we convince? And another thing is, sometimes you got mom and dad, and mom will try to take care of dad, or dad will try to take care of mom all by themselves.
All the time.
And that can create some very unsafe situations. How do we talk to our parents or loved ones and explain to them, the help that's available, and that it's not uncaring to do so?
It's tough. Sometimes I'll tell families, I have spoken with so many daughters and daughters-in-law who are so worried, and some sons, over these past 5 years, and they don't know what to do, because they're telling their mom and dad what to do, because they're coming from a place of fear, and mom and dad are pushing back. So I always tell people, well, your dad might be 85, but inside he's in his 40s, and he's vital, and he's got no issues. And what's the problem here, right? So part of it is our internal selves are usually younger than the external that you're seeing as we age. The other thing is that folks have a real concern that somebody's going to move them into a nursing home, quote unquote. And so they don't even want you to know how bad it is at home, how tough it is, let's say, on mom caring for dad, and dad falls, or she's worried he can't get out of bed, or she's trying to help him on or off the toilet, and they both fall. And there's a concern, right, that if we tell the kids, they're yanking us out of our home that we love, and we've been here for 40, 50 years. So it's a big deal.
Yeah, I think my next book is going to be about this, by the way.
Yeah.
How to support your parents in realizing all the opportunities, and that it's not necessarily straight to the old. And the other thing is, these nursing homes now. Oh my God. So I'm 63. I just toured an independent living facility down in Arizona. I was like, I'm moving in here, man. There is so much to do. Right.
Yeah.
The other thing is, how can we help them be self-sufficient when they can't drive anymore? Right.
That's another big talking point with families. They're worried because mom or dad or aunt, Sophie is still driving. Everybody knows they shouldn't be, and they don't know what to do, and they don't want to have this awful conversation with their loved ones. And first of all, I always tell them, well, talk to the doctor. Get in touch with the doctor confidentially. Let them know your concern. and they, but then what happens, and I had a client recently that this is what happened for her. And her neighbors called me and said, Doc, can you help her? And I was able to. And so what happens is she can't drive anymore. And that isolates people. You can't run your own errands. You can't go out to lunch with your friends without asking them to pick you up. You can't feel spontaneous, right, in your life to be independent. It's all about what tools can we put in place to help someone preserve their independence. So what I say, what we can do is, first of all, if did we lose you again, Laurel? I think we lost you.
We'll just
there she is.
She'll be back in a second.
Okay. And then I'll finish my thought because I can tie this in nicely to answer.
It's okay. There she is. All
there
right.
you are. That's how difficult.
I'm using somebody else's phone than mine, and I just really screwed it up. Sorry, guys.
I'm glad it's you, not me, because I used to do Facebook Live all the time, and I'm a bit rusty. So what I was, but I'm going to kind of finish what we were talking about.
Shasta, did we get any questions that we need to answer? Okay. She would have texted me if we did. So, great, great. Really what I want to do is give people an idea. How do they ask for help? When is the right time to ask for help? And how can they get a hold of you to talk about their individual, because every situation is completely different. And even pre-planning ahead can help if you're talking to your folks or your loved ones ahead of when it's going to be needed, right? So how do they know when's the right time to help? How do they reach you? Okay.
Yeah, and that's absolutely. So just to kind of finish up, because it kind of ties in with someone who loses their driver's license, that's a time to ask for help. That's a time not to try driving when you shouldn't drive, revoked or not, right? But asking for help, knowing that you can call, for instance, I'm with Craig Cares, you can call us and we will meet with you and your loved ones and talk about what are your goals. You want to stay in your home, you want to be independent. How can we help you with that, right? It might be transportation. We can drive you to your appointments and to go shopping and get your hair done. We can, do the laundry and do the bed service, right? I mean, it gets harder and harder to do laundry and make the bed if you're using a walker, for instance, or have chronic pain. We can do meal preparation. Sometimes seniors aren't eating well because it's too much work. I mean, we're all trying to figure out what to make for dinner every day or what to buy or whatever. Think about it. If you're living alone or just two of you in a home that have been married 30, 40, 50, 60 years, it kind of gets old after a while. Honey, what are we having for dinner tonight? I can remember my parents, kind of going through that. So that's part of it. And then knowing when life gets harder, like when it is difficult to get on and off the toilet safely, when taking a shower is filled with, consequences, right? A slip in the shower, some people still have bathrooms and bathtubs, getting over that tub. I had to help my mom with that. And then we put in safety bars and then we started using a different shower for her. So when it starts to get more difficult and families can't do it all and they try to, and it will wear them out. Just like that question about, mom wants to take care of dad. The caregivers will wear out first in most cases. And they won't get that time with their loved one. That's just family time and not task time. And okay, mom, you got to have a shower. Dad, you got to, come on, we got to get you up and do your physical therapy. Wouldn't it be nice to be just the family member again and show your love that way? So asking for help when it gets harder, looking ahead down the road, calling and finding out what are the resources, what are we looking at here?
Yeah. And, reminding people that, their generation, they're not the only ones in this boat. And there's more and more resources. They work their whole lives.
Yes.
And now they're entitled to some help and some resources. There's VA resources. I mean, there's a lot of resources around in the community because they deserve it. They earned it.
They earned it.
And we want them to be safe, and we want them to be around for a really long time, right? So Todd, how do they get a hold of you?
So they can get a hold of me. My phone number's there at 916-846-5718. And that's up there on the screen. And you can call me and ask me for a free fall risk survey. I've got those, a home safety checklist, as well as I do have a few of these books left. I don't know if you can see them. It's Safe and Sound at Home by Craig Falk, the founder of Craig Cares. And just give me a call if you have any concerns or questions about the senior care industry and senior care services, because I have a wonderful network, including you, Laurel, of trusted professionals in the greater Sacramento area. Absolutely.
Great. And then, obviously we're around for when you need to turn your home into cash to pay for more extensive care when you can't stay at home anymore. We can help you with the home, no matter the condition. If there's anything that we can do too, we can always put you in lots of different resources. If you look back over our YouTube channel and all the people that we've been working with. So, Dot, thanks so much for being on the Facebook Live. Sorry about the technical difficulties I had. Senior moments here.
You're getting there.
We're all getting up there. My hair starting to turn gray, so I think my brain is dying off. But again, thanks everybody for joining us. And we'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, Laurel.
Thanks for being on, everybody.